how will the election impact silver and gold prices? Hey everybody, thank you so much for watching Yankee Stacking. Really appreciate it. Don't forget to hit the like if you enjoy this video. Today, I'm going to talk to you about the upcoming election and how it will affect silver and gold prices. During my last Ask Yankee About Silver and Gold live stream, I was asked several times, what's going to happen? Will there be a run-up in silver and gold prices prior to the election? What will happen in the days and weeks following November 3rd, Yankee? Well, I'm going to give you my educated guess based on history, current investor sentiment, a little dose of input from my LCS dealer, Tim, and my gut feeling. So this video is obviously forward-looking, right? Full of Yankee speculation. So I'm going to give you my disclaimer right now. This video is for entertainment purposes only. I'm not a professional financial advisor. I don't have a crystal ball. So make your own decision about what I'm saying, and definitely leave a comment as to what you think about my speculation on where silver and gold are going. I don't intend this video to be political. Okay, yes, I'll talk a little bit about politics, but I'm not going to be partisan. Okay, for those who don't know, I'm a registered independent. I don't want to, make my viewers angry. Okay, but guys, this is an election year, and it's also a year unlike any in our lifetime. So, yeah, it's been a challenging year. But we've had challenging years before, right? Life throws us fastballs high and inside sometimes, and sometimes we even get beamed. And when it comes to elections, we've had some incredibly contentious ones in the past. Do you guys remember the election of 2000? I do. You remember George W. Bush defeating Al Gore in a battle that went all the way to the Supreme Court? We'll talk about it and what silver and gold did a little bit later. But right now, let's talk about more recent history. When Donald Trump was elected in 2016, demand for silver and gold plummeted. It went right down the day after the election, and it stayed there for 3 years. Why? Well, after 8 years of Barack Obama, I think investors felt things would get better under Trump. I mean, surely the monetary stimulus by the Fed was going to stop, right? And fiscal spending of the U.S. government would be curtailed under Trump, right? Our national debt might take a breather. That's what candidate Trump promised, and what fiscal conservatives all around the country were expecting. Hence the drop in demand for the ultimate hedge against inflation and the fear over, the damage to the U.S. dollar. This is what people stopped focusing on right after the president was elected. But now, as Trump's first term draws to an end, precious metals, the spot price, has spiked, albeit with a temporary pullback in September. Yeah, I know. But COVID-19 and the response to it did a number on us. It caused gold and silver bugs to just stock up. It brought a significant number of new speculators into the mix. Young, naive Robinhood investors looking at silver and gold as another get-rich-quick scheme, right? By the way, that's the investor sentiment. It's high for silver and gold. Even with the recent pullback, it just shook out a few weak hands. It's still popular. Okay, but back to politics. It's a big driver in the bullion markets. Trump's victory in 2016 shocked the world. But this time, I don't think we're going to have quite the same shock value with a candidate. I do believe, though, it's going to be tumultuous. Epically tumultuous. Now, I can't predict who will win. I have my guess, but that's not what this video is about. I'm going to focus on the potential implications for the bullion markets. But first, let's consider history. What happened to gold and silver during the election of 2000, that wild 6 weeks. Let me just rattle this off for you. November 7th was the election day, and returns were tight. I went to bed not knowing who our next president was going to be. Next morning, it had all come down to Florida and a few hundred votes. Candidate Gore called Bush. He conceded, then later on he backed out and he retracted his concession. 2 days later, an incomplete count put Bush in the lead by only 1,784 votes. And that margin triggered a recount across the Florida counties. I think there was like 67 of them. So then we went back and forth with this, with overseas absentee ballots, hand counting, hanging chads. I don't know if you remember that. What's a soiled ballot? What isn't? It was ridiculous. Then there was court battles in Florida. And then on November 26th, the Florida Secretary of State, Katherine Harris, who was a Republican, declared Bush the winner in Florida by 537 votes. Well, Gore sued. And then he appealed to the Florida Supreme Court. And then on December 4th, the U.S. Supreme Court stepped in. The next day, the U.S. Supreme Court overturned the Florida Supreme Court, ruling 5-4 to stop the ballot counting in Florida. December 13th, Gore conceded again, and Bush was the president-elect. Well, that's a little taste of history. What about now? For that, I'm going to play a quick little clip from my LCS dealer, Tim.
The optimist, which is the enemy of the metals, is optimism, think that Trump is going to get elected. Mm-hmm. The pessimists are the people who, want to jump on silver and gold before they go up, mm-hmm. Think that Biden's going to get elected. And I think we're going to see the same sort of up and down movement until the election.
Biden wins, gold and silver
I think the metals go up.
Shoot up.
Yeah, because it's
Trump wins. There'll be some optimism, right?
Stabilize, but keep in mind that if it stays where it is, it's not keeping track with inflation.
True.
And so I would expect them both to go up over time, no matter who gets elected.
Interesting, huh? All right, so this is what I think. Call it a gut feeling based on everything else that I've mentioned earlier. Should Trump win, I think investors are going to breathe a collective sigh of relief. And I think they're going to briefly turn away from this stuff, the silver and gold. I think their attention is going to be more focused on risk assets. I think the dollar is going to strengthen. I think silver and gold spot prices will drop. But I think it'll be short-lived. Maybe just, 2, 3, 4 weeks, something like that. Why? Why do I think it'll be short-lived? Because in the short term, investor psychology matters more than the facts. And the fact is, Trump's first term did nothing to change the fundamental reason that gold and silver are in demand. Congress is still, deficit spending. The Fed is still monetizing that debt. Silver and mining production is also way, way down. So if Trump wins, I think his supporters will be thrilled that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris aren't in power, and I believe that confidence will feed the dollar. If Joe Biden wins, on the other hand, I think the demand for physical silver and gold is going to surge. I personally know gold bugs and silver bugs out there who will go from nervous to completely petrified if Biden wins. They believe what is inevitable will only be hastened by a Biden presidency. And if the Congress goes to the Democrats, well, they see economic collapse. If you think it's hard to find bullion now, well, I think it's going to be next to impossible to get some of this stuff in 2021 under a Biden administration. Inventories will go from sparse to barren, and premiums are going to explode. So that's the Biden wins scenario. But what about a third scenario? a contested outcome, no clear winner, allegations of massive voter fraud, court battles, resistance to accept election results, or even court rulings, total political chaos. A real constitutional crisis could happen. And if that's the case, forget the 6 weeks in 2000. It could be 6 months this time around. This scenario is probably not going to happen, but it could. And it is a scary one. It's a scenario where I think silver and gold would go utterly ballistic. The fear would be through the roof. People would most likely flock to the haven of silver and gold. Forget people, institutional investors, massive influx into silver and gold if that third scenario were to happen. So, bottom line, if you think Trump is going to win, you might want to hold on to some fiat just a bit on the sidelines for a quick buying opportunity, but it might not last very long. If you think Biden has a good shot at becoming president, well, stock up now, friends. And if we get what we had in 2000, only 10 times as big, we'll get ready for precious metals volatility like you have never seen. That's my take, guys. Tell me what you think in the comments below. And as always, I hope your day is A-OK.